Good morning, everyone. I have a special guest with me today, the CEO of the long-awaited exchange, M2, Stefan Kimmel. Hello, Stefan.
Hi, Walid. Thanks a lot for having me. Great to be on the show.
A lot of expectation from M2, but I prefer to hear that from M2 leadership. Can you elaborate on M2 overall vision and mission, especially that you're trying to serve both institutional and retail clients?
Yes, sure, Walid. So look, the core of M2 is really two aspects. So first of all, M2 is a fully regulated crypto exchange and investment platform. We are registered and licensed in several jurisdictions, amongst them, of course, the ADGM here in Abu Dhabi, where we have both an exchange license as well as a custody license. We also registered in several international jurisdictions, and we're currently expanding to Spain and other European countries to have a full regulatory coverage. So that is one of the main foundations. Whatever we do, whatever we undertake, we want to be fully regulated, licensed, transparent, secure, and safe for our customer deposits. That's the foundation for everything. And the other aspect I think that stands out is our yield and earn products. So we are an exchange, we do buying and selling of crypto, but we also have the earn and invest side of it. So for instance, one of our starting propositions is we offer an earn product that pays 10.5% on Bitcoin, or up to 10.5%, depending on how long a customer submits. Same 10.5% on Ethereum, and 11.5% on USDT. So the key is we want to offer above market yields or market leading yields in a secure environment and a fully transparent and regulated platform. That's the core of the offering.
Yeah. So talking about the yield and M2 earn and so on and so forth. So can you elaborate a little bit on the mechanism behind this product?
Of course, that's the question I get the most, as you could imagine. So look, we have an in-house asset management team. So what happens if a customer commits his funds into the earn plan, it gets handled by that asset management team. That team uses 4 avenues to generate the yields that we offer in these earn plans. Number one is in Bitcoin mining. So we are partially owned by one of the largest Bitcoin miners on the planet, Phoenix, and that gives us access to privileged capacity at a good rate for Bitcoin mining. So that's a key component of how we generate yields. The second aspect is our trading team. So we do algorithmic trading as well as market making on several avenues. That's also generating the second component of the yield. The third one is we do collateralized lending or over collateralized lending on platform, also likewise generating yields. And the final one is proof of stake or staking for POS protocols. That's the 4 main avenues.
Yeah. So a lot of UAE managed to bring together a lot of exchanges from all over the world, including the big ones. So and somehow, yes, I know that the dream for M2 is not a local or regional exchange only, but a global one. But somehow the competition is severe and the market is small. So what is your competitive advantage in this case?
It depends on who we compare ourselves to, but I think it's the combination of those two things.
I'm not hitting to Kevin O'Leary's statement, so which I didn't like it, by the way. So
yeah, that caught us by surprise as well, to be perfectly honest. But no, look, the advantage is twofold. The 2 aspects. One is it's fully regulated, licensed, and secure, which some other exchanges are not. Some other exchanges offer fantastic products, interesting products, but it's not registered, it's not secure, it's not licensed. So that's one main component of our offering. Our customers can trust that what we do is supervised by several authorities, and that also puts us in a position where we can deal not only with retail customers, but also with institutional customers who usually have that as a requirement. They can't deal with unregistered, non-compliant platforms. So that is one aspect, and also means has an impact on how transparent we are, how secure we are, what minimum safeguards we have to have. There's just a very high standard, especially given we are registered in jurisdictions such as the ADGM, which puts the bar very high on this. That's one component. The other one component, of course, is the yield. And that will remain one of our key themes going forward. It's above market yields, especially when compared to registered entities. Of course, you have offers in the market of 1,000% yield, 500% yield, but then you never know whether you're actually going to see that money ever. Usually, sooner or later, you don't.
It's a one-way ticket, actually.
Exactly. It's a great dream, but then the alarm bell rings and you wake up and it's over. No, so it's a combination. Great yields in a secure platform. That's really that combination. That's a sweet spot.
So going back a little bit, I don't want to dwell fast. So it seems you have a very diverse team, and you seems you are this is something you are proud of. So you're stressing on this in every communication you have. So what are you trying to say here, Yani? We are not only crypto guys, we are expert in banking and finance. This is the message of.
Yes, I mean, and that again has to do, of course, with a lot of what we saw over the last 2 years.
You know, Stefan, sorry for interruption. When all this wave of crypto started, we all hated. We tried to push the message that, okay, we don't need banks. We hate banks. We hate bankers. They have been in their comfort zone for ages. So now we're here to disrupt them. And now we're putting banking suits on us back again because we failed to deliver what the promise was since the beginning, right? So,
yes.
So go ahead.
Well, I think no, you're making a very, very good point. So I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. There was a lot of criticism about traditional banking, and the whole start of crypto was as a response to that criticism of high cost, low service levels, lack of trust of intermediaries, all those points, especially at the back of the global financial crisis, eventually,
even Bitcoin, the first genuine block was embedded message. Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. No. Fully get it. But then we saw if you push the dial too far in the other direction, there's no safeguards, and it's a bit of Wild West. It drives great innovation, and we saw a lot of great things come out of that. But if you leave it completely unchecked, you see things happening as what we saw in 2021 and what's currently in front of courts, especially in the US and elsewhere. So it has, if you don't do any of that, it has negative consequences as well. So what we're trying to do is find the sweet spot, the balanced sweet spot in the middle. We want that innovation, we want new technology, and we are committed to delivering the best possible services in an efficient way to our customers. That's the end goal. But we still think you need to do that with a solid understanding of robust processes and managing risk. Because if there's no expertise in the team how to manage a global crisis or just any financial crisis or major market downturn, how to build robust processes, industrial grade processes that are secure and safe for our customer, and cybersecurity components that are up to the mark, then there's just a risk to customer funds. And that's what we're trying to avoid. That's why we, as you mentioned, we have this blend of people who come from a financial services background, who know robust operating procedures, who know risk mitigation and risk management, as well as crypto natives who are much better in driving the innovation that we want to have. So we try to combine that under one roof. And as an end result, we want to have innovative products, but in a secure and robust manner.
So I've read that you received as well the Bahamas license lately. So
yes.
Congrats for this. So the question is, the yield product, the M2 product, is on the international platform in Bahamas, or is it as well approved by ADGM?
No, yield products are not regulated under ADGM, so that's under the Bahamas.
Yeah. Okay, great. So going back into going inside the offering, so you're having your own MMX token. So what is the role of MMX token within the M2 ecosystem, and how can user benefit from holding and using MMX token?
So MMX is our utility token, our native M2 exchange token. Holding it has several utilities or several use cases. One is you can use it to boost your yield on the earn plans. So in simple words, if for instance you start a plan with 8.5% yield on Ethereum, you can use MMX, which then gets burned to boost that yield to 10.5%. And the same applies to all the other earn programs. So the main use for the time being is the yield boost. The second is you can use MMX as well as an earn plan, so you can earn MMX the same way you can others. The additional benefit here is that for the MMX you lock in an earn plan, you're also eligible on a quarterly basis for part of the profit of M2, which I think is a unique feature. I have not seen that.
Interesting.
And the third one is
the whole profit of the whole exchange.
Yeah, so it's a share of the whole profit of the exchange. So what we do is 10% of the profits exchange, M2's overall profit, is allocated to the
assuming that it's gonna be profitable from day one. Hopefully with your leadership.
Yes, I mean, obviously this year is our launch year, but we're already seeing some very, very good uptake, especially in those earn programs. And that is an advantage we have that gives us an edge to generate those profits from the early days. If we relied only on trading, it'd be much harder, because as you know, we are still in a bear market. The trading volumes are at a historic low level. So that alone would be very, very hard to do. That's where our earn plans are very helpful.
Fair enough. So one of the major problems that somehow raised during the past year and so was the inside trading, and really now SEC and they are going hard on exchanges in the state about this matter. So what are the measures here you're taking to control such activities?
Yes, I think partially that goes back to who's running that as a team and being very strictly regulated. So for instance, what we have to do as part of the ADGM regulation is we have to report every single order and every single trade in real time or near time to the regulator, to the FSRA, who conduct their own trade monitoring and trade surveillance on top of the trade surveillance we do. So we are being requested, and we have implemented full trade surveillance that identifies all sorts of insider trading, wash trading, and market manipulation to ensure what is considered fair and orderly trading. So we already have an extensive monitoring and screening program to prevent that. On top of that, the regulator is implementing the same measures in real time, looks into our trades and enforces that as well. So it's a two-layer protection to keep the markets clean.
So, talking security now, so in the past 10 years, most of the hacks happened on exchanges, not on blockchain protocols. A lot of losses, a lot of hacks. So what are the measures here M2 is taking to control, to have really a good, great security measures?
So I would actually think that the majority of hacks over the last 2 years were on DeFi platforms as well as bridges, not so much on centralized exchanges. There were some, of course, but the vast majority were on the more adventurous,
I agree.
more open platforms. Nevertheless, that is, of course, an extremely high concern of ours. We want to make sure that our customer funds are absolutely safe. That's why we did several things. One, we hired what we believe is a very, very strong cybersecurity team and implemented, again, banking grade, industrial strength, cybersecurity measures, state of the art on every aspect. On top of that, that is also obviously additionally externally audited by several different vendors to really make sure and there's external pen testing and all the other elements that needs to be in place. And on top of that, of course, it's compliant with all the regulations in every jurisdiction we're in. So we feel we are as safe as any platform can ever be.
So one more point. So my personal view, which doesn't really matter in this case, separating trading from custody is a must, but somehow you are doing both and you actually receive the custodian license before the exchange license. What's the reason behind that?
So they are actually two different legal entities, and they're two different licenses. And the reason is exactly that. I think, again, in the aftermath of what we've seen over previous years, having everything under one ownership and one umbrella is an inherent conflict of interest potentially, or that bears risks. So the ADGM has implemented that as a rule, as a requirement in the registration process to have that fully separated. So we have entirely separated teams for custody, separate platforms, separate tech infrastructure than we have for the exchange. So those are entirely segregated. They're under the same, let's say, holding umbrella, but as entities, they're fully separated.
So there's a lot of, and I have some insights that there's some commercial banks, they are working on getting custodian license for digital assets. So do you have any idea on that?
Yeah, several. I mean, look, we are obviously in discussion with banks, with wealth managers, and different, let's say, potential investors or customers have different views and interests on that. Some prefer the custody to be entirely separated, and they might have that with a traditional custody provider.
This is my view.
And only the, yeah, and there's reasons for that, right? I mean, there's obviously cost implications, other implications for it, but from an absolute security and safeguarding perspective, that would be the highest standards, and that's what some people follow. And we are fine to operate under that model, by the way. If there's a customer who want that, we would cater for it.
Oh, that's right. So this is all from my end. Well, the last question is, how do you see UAE moving in this space? You've been here for a while. You've been watching what's happening. You've been dealing with the regulators. So you dealt with ADGM for long until you get your license. I'm not sure. Are you planning anything with VARA? This is another question here. And how do you see UAE scene and the regional scene in general?
So the UAE scene, I'm extremely excited and bullish about. If you look at this in international context and the movement of projects and exchanges in recent years, clearly the UAE is evolving as one of the absolute global go-to places and leading places for crypto across Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Whereas we see flight away from the US because of unclarity in regulation. And I want to be clear about that. It's not because it's strict regulation, it's because of uncertainty and unclarity, or lack of clarity. Whereas in the UAE, the ADGM has established the regulatory framework, I think 5 years ago, and evolved it from there.
It was the first.
It was the first one. Now Dubai is also pushing in the same direction. So it's an overall regulatory environment that is not relaxed. It is clear. It provides clear rules for both sides to what is allowed, what is not allowed, and how to behave, how to act. And that is the best possible scenario for investors and service providers to come together. And that I think is unique. There's not many places in the world who've reached that level. I mean, Europe has released MiCA now, which is positive, but it's still about to be implemented. It's probably almost 18 months out for full implementation, and has to be rolled out in other countries. Hong Kong has made big announcements. Singapore is obviously out there, but I think the level of maturity that we see in the UAE is unique, and you see that with all the projects moving to the UAE now. I think it's the place to be in my mind for crypto.
Agreed. So what's the plan? Even you mentioned few licensing plans. So now you have ADGM license, you have Bahamas license. What's next for you in terms of licensing?
So the one that are already in flight, in progress, are Spain and France. We'll add most likely the UK next, which of course is not part of the European Union anymore. And then we're looking in several emerging markets as a next go-to place. We're currently staying out of the US. We would love to enter them eventually, but as long as there's no clarity around the regulation, we're cautious for that. Other than that, we take in a cautious look at literally all jurisdictions globally and see where the opportunity is there.
Perfect. Thank you for your time, Stefan. Anything you would like to add, please go ahead. If not, so it was a very nice conversation.
My pleasure, Walid. Thanks a lot for having me.
Thank you.